What's up, guys? Welcome to Chess Giant. This is Solomon Riddell, and today we're going to be going over a game by Magnus Carlsen, who is the current world champion. And in this game, he plays against Anish Giri, who has consistently been a top 5 player in the world. So obviously this is a very elite level game, and it was actually just played earlier this year in the 2019 Grand Chess Tour that was held in Croatia. I'm excited to show you guys this game because Magnus Carlsen plays with a very aggressive but yet sound style of play, where he looks to slowly improve the position of his pieces. With the white pieces was Anish Giri, and with the black pieces was Magnus Carlsen. So let's just hop right in. E4, C5. Here Carlsen going for the Sicilian defense. Knight F3, Knight C6, Bishop E5, E6. Here Giri takes the knight on C6, and after B takes C6, D3, Knight E7. Both sides are just naturally developing here. H4, H5. Strong move by Carlsen here, as he's preventing Giri from creating a space advantage on the king side with H5. However, here Giri pushes with E5, pushing in the center of the board. And this E5 pawn is very strong, right? So Carlsen looks to undermine it with the move D6. And after E takes D6, Knight G6. A lot of people in this position probably would have taken with the queen immediately, right? But this queen on D6 is very awkwardly placed, and it also stops the bishop on F8 from becoming an active piece in the game. So because of this, Carlsen plays Knight G6 so that the bishop can come into play. Now here from Giri we see Knight FD2, which a lot of people say that Giri was too passive in this position because he was moving a piece that had already been developed. Other moves that are natural include Queen E2, right? Natural move improving the position. Knight BD2, which eyes the C4 square, and also brings the knight into the game that has not yet been developed. And Knight A3, right? Looks a little crazy, but same goal. The square on C4. However, after Knight G6, Giri played Knight FD2. And here from Carlsen, we see bishop takes C6. And after Knight C4, Giri would love to take this bishop on D6 and trade off. But Carlsen wants to hold on to the bishop. So he plays bishop E7, eyeing this H4 pawn. Knight C3. And the very strong move from Carlsen, bishop A6, eyeing this knight on C4. We see queen F3, and after bishop takes C4, and queen takes C6 check, obviously here if queen D7, then the rook hangs, right, on A8. So after queen takes C6 check, king F8 is forced, and after D takes C4, knight takes H4. Now here Giri played castles, which is a somewhat questionable move because the king on G1 is very prone to being attacked. There's not a lot of pieces defending the king here, and on top of that, there's usually a pawn on H2 here, which isn't. So this king on G1 is very open to attack, and Carlsen takes advantage of this. But as of right now, he plays a move, knight F5, improving the position of the knight, and this knight on F5 is a very strong piece. Here Giri played Knight E2, which is simply a mistake. Knight E2 is too passive here. Better was the move, Rook D1. Idea being that this queen on D8 is attacked, and after a move like queen C8, white can just trade off and play Rook D7, attacking this A7 pawn. And here the position is still roughly equal, but white is slightly better and has activity. However, after Knight F5 and Knight E2, it's just too passive. This gives Carlsen too much time with the move Rook C8. And here the best move for Giri is to play Queen F3. This Queen on F3 serves as a defender for the king, and the Queen on F3 is very active. However, after Rook C8, Giri plays Queen A4, which is a mistake. This queen just isn't really doing much. Its scope is limited to C4 and C2. And sure, it's attacking the pawn A7, but this is very easily defendable with the move Rook C7, which Carlsen did. Here we see bishop f4, attacking this rook on c7, and rook d7. The idea here is that this queen and rook are slicing down on the d1 square, and therefore Giri can't bring one of the rooks to the open file. So here Giri plays c3. Idea being that the queen now can see d1, and now a rook can come into the game. But this gives Magnus Carlsen too much time. Better than c3 was to play knight g3. In this position, which is a better piece? The knight on e2 or the knight on f5? It's pretty easy to see that this knight on f5 is very strong, and therefore white should try to trade it off with the move knight g3. And an example line here is h4, trade off the knight, and queen c6. And here white is slightly better. The queen on c6 is very active, the bishop on f4 is active, and white's doing just fine here. However, as mentioned before, Giri plays c3, which looks very logical, right? The queen is coming to d1, or rook's about to come into the game. But as I've said, this gives Magnus Carlsen too much time. And here he launches a kingside attack with a somewhat crazy looking move, g5. Here Carlsen plans to aggressively come after this king on g1. Here we see rook a d1. Rook takes d1. Rook takes d1. And queen a8. This is a very strong move from Carlsen here, as this queen slices down on the g2 square. Now the bishop on f4 is currently being attacked, so Giri was forced to move it to c7. And really there's not much stopping black from just playing h4 and h3. And that's what Carlsen did with the move h4, and after f3, h3. And here Giri resigned. Idea being that this queen is extremely active, this rook is active, the knight on f5 is very strong, and there's just not much white can do to defend the king. An example line includes the move knight g3, which then black would just continue with knight h4, putting pressure on g2 and f3. And after a move like queen c2, we see that the bishop on c7 is very awkwardly placed. So we can play queen b7, kicking the bishop to e5, f6, kicking the bishop to d6, trade off the bishop, take the pawn, g2, and here the f3 pawn's about to fall, and white's just losing this position. So again, after f3 and h3, Giri resigned. And I think that's something we can learn from this game, is to improve the positioning and activity of your pieces. That's what Carlsen did here. But Giri didn't with the move knight e2, c3, queen a4. He just took too much time, and his pieces weren't coordinated, and Carlsen took advantage of it. Thanks for watching today's video. If you'd like to watch another one, you can click or tap up here, and I've got a lot more high quality chess content on the way. So if you'd like to subscribe, you can click or tap down here. I really appreciate your support.